Hey folks, ScooterVauto here. I'm working on an M14 for Watchdog, and I got his Mechbox here, version 7. I've looked online and I see different videos, but I don't actually see this one. Alright, this one's different. This one's, like, for instance, got electronics on both sides. Alright, none of those do. So I figure I'm going to post one because there isn't one. Alright. On this one you'll notice that there is no selector plate. I guess it broke. I don't know why it's not here. He said it fires only semi, and I don't understand why, because without the selector plate this is free to move, and being the spring loaded to stay in the fully automatic mode, you pull the trigger, it's full auto. So I'm not too sure what the situation is there. We'll have to try and figure that out. But yeah, so you start by taking off the selector plate switch, the selector switch. But again, in this case there is no selector plate, so there'll be a step missed later. Maybe we'll have it when I go to assemble it. Now when you take this off, there's going to be a little spring right here. It's part of the trigger system. It just holds a little bearing down. Make sure you put these parts in a group order. What I like to do is I like to put them in a reverse order. Alright, and then you can go ahead and take off the trigger set, the trigger spring. And it's pretty easy. Just a quick flip and turn. Very simple, very simple. Alright, and I like to flip the box over. And I will disassemble this side. First thing you want to do is take off the springs. I just use a utility knife kind of device, like an exact knife, and I just unhook them. Oh, there you go. Unhook one. Come to the other side. Unhook the other one. Very simple, easy peasy. Right, and you just go ahead and take these screws out. There are three different pieces on this side. I'm only going to take out 2 of the screws. I'm going to go back and disassemble the other side, and then I'll finish on this side. You'll see why in a minute. 2. Go back over here real quick. Take out this screw and this screw, the 2 primaries. And as you see, the whole trigger electronic set will very simply come loose. Alright, and behind there we have the trigger and the safety lever. Now the safety lever is screwed down, the trigger is secured on both sides of the box, so it's not going to go anywhere, right? Again, flip it back over. I'll take out these last 2 screws. And then remove this plate. And there are a couple pieces under here, but there's nothing springy. As long as you're taking the springs out, nothing will jump at you. Right? This is the lever right here that controls the semi-cutoff. And this is just part of the trigger actuated system. Alright? The trigger you'll see now will just slide right out. Alright? This is only held in by nothing. It's just like 2 little pins in the body. And the trigger set itself is held in by a pin, so you don't have to worry about losing that. Right? And once you go back onto this side, grab yourself your number 10 Torx. And I like to remove the 2 motor screws. And don't lose the washers for those. Wait, not quite all the way out there. There. Call me a liar, you're gonna have to edit this shit. Okay, come on, Mary, what the hell? It's not screwed in. It's just being difficult for the YouTube. There you are. And I like doing it this way simply because you just pop that off, you pop that off, and that whole bit comes off all by itself. And it only goes on one way, so you don't confuse yourself on which side goes to which side. You set that off for later use. And remember I was telling you about that spring? And I dang near lost the little ball bearing that comes off. That's the little ball bearing part of the trigger system. I'll show you that later on. Then you come back to this side. Grab yourself your small Phillips. And just go ahead and unscrew this. And now when you lift this off, there's a little pin set. That little spring-loaded system right here. Don't lose it. Oh, that's kind of freaky. So there you go. That's taking the business end apart, and then for taking the guns, the internals itself apart, there's a screw missing apparently. But you want yourself a little screwdriver to slide in the back. I have a little one here somewhere. All right, so the battery's dying in my thing there, so I'm just gonna do this real quick. Loosen off the 1 screw. All right, and then the 2 motor screws. I also, oh yeah, don't forget, you gotta pop off this top plate. Those things are always a pain in the sphincter. I don't mind telling you. Sometimes they're easier, sometimes they're not so much. A very simple technique I've developed is just take a small enough screwdriver to fit right in that little hole it has and just pop that little bastard off. It just takes a couple of small hits and you'll get it to move into a position where you can grab it. And you win because we have opposable thumbs and tools. Alright, so now you take your small one, stick them in there, hold that shit down. Under your other screw, if it was there should be one there. There's not one there, I'll have to put one in there. And simply just spin her out slowly. Well, don't spin her out slowly. Pull that screw out. Now, holding the system together, I like to hold my finger on the cylinder. Use the force here to hold down the whole top of the whole thing. And as soon as you lift it, oh, that was a beautiful one. Look at that, it came out slick. Release the tension on the spring. And ladies and gentlemen, opened up. There's a little spring in here that's kind of going to springy sprunger if I'm not careful, but I'm not working it out anyway, so there we go. All the way inside, nice and safe. I'm going to do some cleaning, screw around in here, maybe do the shimming, and then I'll put it back together. Hey folks, so there's a pretty easy technique I figured for putting these things back together. In a V2, the slot here is a lot bigger, your finger can go in it. These ones not so much, so I kind of have a cheat. So I kind of got a neat technique for putting these back together. You put your screwdriver in the back of your higher quality spring guide. You just slide it in, and it'll sit by itself. So then I just hold that down, grab this, get it into a position where I can hold the cylinder down again. And I just take this little thing and I hold him right on the cylinder. You just slide it down ever so gently. Then you can get your finger on there again. You just wiggle the spring guide. And boom, it's that fast to put that much together. Then you just wiggle a bit you normally have to wiggle. Normally it's that guy. That guy. Bam. And it's back together. This guy is a Phillips apparently. You know, turn your screw back just ever so much till you hear it drop into the threading. And just screw it in, and just for now, just snug. So yeah, then you can throw this thing back on, this way around, and get him in as far as he can go. And then just find yourself something solid and push him the last little bit. Make sure he's just past flush. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to go find a washer for this one and see if I can find a screw for that one. Back soon. And remember this whole bit right here, so easy. Just slide her in, and grab your two screws, put that one in, alright, so just like before, you go in reverse order, right? So you take this guy here, make sure that little spring-loaded bit is in, and you line him up with this hole right there. And take your screw and put the screw in. Alright, and check that in, just check that it works. Yep, good and solid. Next you take your trigger and you put him in and you line him up with this screw hole right there, with that little hole. Then once you got him lined up, you can go ahead and take the the wiring set, line them up, drop them into place. Grab the two screws, put them in, and just finger tight. Don't have to be all crazy. You know, this, if you have a couple seconds, maybe just make sure all these are snug. I mean, you're right here, right? So there's no reason not to take a check. Alright, so what we'll do now is you line the trigger system up. It has two little pins that falls right into place. Beautiful. You take this little silver bracket. It only goes one way, the shallow side down. And you line up the pin at the top end or the bottom end of the trigger. It will just be absolutely perfect. Next, we'll need the safety cover, or this semi-auto lock. You just kind of work him in. It kind of only fits one way, and then once you get him in, he'll drop right into place. And while you got that all held, make sure it's all right where it's supposed to be. You can go ahead and take the plate. And it only goes on one way with the opening over this set here. It just takes a little bit of seconds to line all the little pins up. There we go. And again, just drop in the screws. In the TM, there's 3 long ones and 1 short one. And it's pretty straightforward. You know, the 3 long ones go in the long section, the short one goes in the short section. And don't snug them up right up, just get them on, right? Because if you snug one side up too tight and go fast, you might cause binding, and that's no fun. So then, yeah, once you got it lined up, you can go ahead and put the springs back on. The two are back here, one for the semi-auto lock and then one for the trigger system. I like to put the stronger the 2 springs on the safety lock. So we'll do this one up here. I have a, I don't know, for lack of a better technique, I use a utility knife times an X-Acto, and I hook it. Oops, I got it upside down. Turn it over. So you just put it in a couple of threads, or a couple of the spring loops. Put it on that one. Drop it down to that one. Boom. Should be on. Should be fully operational. Very nice. Goes in, goes out. Makes contact. Looks good. And this one here, it's a little more tricky. Never really developed a technique. I just kind of go at it, and if it goes on, I'm happy. But I do try the same technique anyways. So hook that side. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Nice. It moves very nicely. And then just take your screwdriver and just turn these till just when they go snug. Any more than that and you'll cause binding. Beautiful. Make sure the trigger system, make sure that this can move free. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, don't forget to install this spring. It just goes right in there. Usually goes in relatively easy. You'll see the tappet going forward, and it's just as simple as, again, I use one of these here. Actually, no, for this one I use a screwdriver. Just take your screwdriver and just push it in. There, and it's just as simple as that. Then you have a fully operational tappet. Very nice. Now you remember the little ball bearing. Him go in that hole. Spring go on top of him, like that. Now remember, we don't have the selector plate, unfortunately. You got to put on the selector switch. Oh, I forgot the motor trigger. Oh, I almost forgot. Don't forget the spring for the motor. The spring from, sorry, not from the motor, the spring from the trigger. Grab it underneath those pliers. And drop them on. Alright, so we're going to do a quick test. This is his battery, but I'm not sure if it works. Let's just check here real quick. Plug that in there. Oh, no juice from his battery. So let's use this battery. That works just fine, just fine. Time to reassemble it. So there you go, folks. There's the disassembly and reassembly of a Tokyo Mauri m14 Socom version 7 gearbox. Thanks for watching. Play hard, play fast, play safe.